Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Austin from Ohio, and today is Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. Just wanted to start off by thanking everybody for the live stream the other night. It was a good turnout, and we had a lot of good discussions, and it usually is just a great thing to do. It's a great place to be, honestly, for me, for you, for anybody, I believe, not just because it's mine, but because we engage in open conversation. We have a little bit of fun. We talk serious stuff. We talk about things going on. All around good place to be. I am scheduling one currently. I'm trying to figure out what day I want to do that. Either it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday, I believe. Not quite sure yet. I'll have to see how it goes. Everything went good today with the whole inspection thing, for those who were wondering about that. And the heating unit in our house is now fixed, so don't have to wake up when it's 49 degrees in the house as it's been, which is terrible, just terrible. But a lot of stuff going on, guys. I mean, we already know exactly what's going to be happening based on what they tell us. And if I haven't said it yet, please download this video, because I believe that it will be taken down, and you will see why very soon. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this is from News 10 ABC, and we all know about this. More than 1,000 gas stations in the Southeast report running out of fuel thanks to panic buying. Okay. Chamblee, Georgia. More than 1,000 gas stations in the Southeast reported running out of fuel, primarily because of what analysts say is unwarranted panic buying among drivers, as the shutdown of a major pipeline by a gang of hackers entered its fifth day Tuesday. Government officials acted swiftly to waive safety and environmental rules to speed the delivery of fuel by truck, ship, or rail to motorists and airports, even as they sought to assure the public there was no cause for alarm. We know that they're always going to say that there's no cause for alarm and this and that. And it's kind of concerning that they waived the safety and environmental rules. Not because, if they didn't do that, then this would happen. No, it's obviously these safety and environmental rules usually only serve to be totalitarian in nature. And whenever they come out and they say they waived them, they'll usually follow up with that with manufacturing some kind of crisis or some isolated incident to happen, so they can further blame fossil fuels, if you want to call them fossil fuels. That's what they call them. I don't need people on here saying, oh, you know that those aren't. I know all of that. Again, when I use terminology and when I read these things, we are reading them from their standpoint, what they are saying. I wouldn't be surprised if something ended up happening, like some kind of maybe gas station explosion type thing, or something that they could use to further turn people's minds against fossil fuels. Okay, the Colonial Pipeline, the biggest fuel pipeline in the United States, delivering about 45% of what is consumed on the East Coast, was hit on Friday with a cyber attack by hackers who lock up computer systems and demand ransom to release them. The attack raised concerns once again about the vulnerability of the nation's critical infrastructure. You could also view this as helping to shape the mind of people. So in the future, when they, let's say, EMP or shut the power off to a portion of the country, or maybe the entire country, we don't know what that's quite going to be like yet, they can already say, boom, hackers. And nobody even looked into this. They just assumed that it was, because the news said it, right? Experts said hackers, so that's what it is. So if something like that happens where the power goes out, well, we can probably say that they're going to blame somebody, and the people will definitely believe that. And that is very sad. Why the Colonial Pipeline hack matters to you. A large part of the pipeline resumed operations manually late Monday, and Colonial anticipates restarting most of its operations by the end of the week, U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm said. Motorists may still feel a crunch because it takes a few days to ramp up operations, but she said there is no reason to hoard gasoline. Let's see. Yeah, people are lining up because they only respond to what the news says. Like the whole toilet paper debacle last year. News comes out and says, oh, there's a toilet paper shortage. Everybody runs out and buys a whole bunch of toilet paper to where nobody else can get some. Literally 2 months go by and the shelves were totally stocked again, at least where I'm at. They do this because they like to see how many people they can, like how many people they have to be manipulated so far. Like, it works on a lot of people. I seen a picture of this guy filling up one of them, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a huge, like, box-looking thing. It's like a white box-looking thing. And he was usually put water in it, I think. But he was putting gas in it, like a moron. And I'm thinking, you people are literally just being thrown every which way. I guarantee if they came out tomorrow on the news and they said that there was a shortage of, I don't know, something stupid, let me think here, toothbrushes. You would have so many people going out and buying over 100 toothbrushes because they would be like, oh, they're going to run out and I'll never have a toothbrush ever again. Something stupid like that. Quote, we know that we have gasoline, we just have to get it to the right places, she said. S&P's oil price information service put the number of gas stations encountering shortages at more than 1,000. A lot of that is because they're selling 3 or 4 times as much gasoline that they normally sell in a given day because people do panic, said Tom Kloza, an analyst with S&P. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Interesting choice of words this guy put here. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. How would you even... That doesn't even... Anyway... The pipeline runs from Texas Gulf Coast to New York metropolitan area. The states most dependent on the pipeline include Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and the Carolinas, Clausen said. In Virginia, 7.7 of the state's nearly 3,900 gas stations reported running out of fuel Tuesday, according to GasBuddy.com, which tracks supply. In North Carolina, 8.5 of almost 5,400 stations were out, the company said. There were scattered reports of higher gasoline prices, but the prices were rising even before the pipeline incident heading into the busy summer driving season. Nevertheless, Granholm warned gas station owners, we will have no tolerance for price gouging. Senators discussed federal cybersecurity following SolarWinds hack. To ease brief shortages, the White House is considering temporarily waiving a law that says ships delivering products between U.S. ports must be built and manned by Americans. The Transportation Department also is relaxing some workforce requirements and enlisting railroads to deliver fuel inland. And the Environmental Protection Agency lifted some fuel quality requirements on an emergency basis. Quote, we're looking at every option we have across the federal government and all the federal agencies. So basically let me keep reading this first. Okay, in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp suspended state taxes on motor fuels through Saturday. Georgia collects a gasoline tax of 28.7 cents per gallon and a diesel tax of 32.2 cents per gallon. Cyber attack shuts down major pipeline. Biden promises action. It will probably help the price of the pump off for a little while. Help level the price of the pump off for a little while, Kemp said. However, he urged people not to hoard gasoline, saying he expects the situation to be resolved soon. Quote, you don't need to go out and fill up every 5-gallon can you've got, the governor said. And just all this is all just crap. What they're doing is not only are they seeing how many people they can manipulate to see where the population sits on the social engineering aspect of it, but also they are looking for any justification because what year is it? 2021. What's the agenda? Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. They want to get us off of this so they can get all of us onto the smart grid, the 5G smart grid for the mega cities and all that, the new infrastructure that they're still continuing to build around us without any knowledge at all of the true effects of it. Well, they know what it does. We don't. And what that's going to help them do is, let's say sometime in the future, we all end up driving these, quote, well, people that do driving these electric vehicles or public transportation. Everything's going to be electric. Now, at any given time, they can either shut your car off, they could bar you from driving so you can't operate your car at all, so they don't have to go around put boots on people's cars. They can just get in the system and be like, boom, you're done. It's a lot, but they want all of the natural minerals for themselves, and we know that. But let's go ahead and move on from this. All right, I found this one rather interesting, and this is from USA Today, May 7th, 2021. Facebook winning war on C19 cure, we'll call it that, lies, hoaxes, and conspiracies. Twitter and TikTok, not so much, report says. So basically what they're saying is that Facebook is winning a war on the truth and other platforms aren't. The nation's leading social media companies pledged to put warning labels on C19 and C19V posts to stop the spread of falsehoods, conspiracy theories, and hoaxes that are fueling V hesitancy in the USA. Gee. With the exception of Facebook, nearly all of them are losing the war against C19 disinformation. That's the conclusion of a new report shared exclusively with USA Today. So, right off the bat, first of all, the language that they're using, they're calling it a war. So anybody that wants to say that we're not involved in a war, look at the terminology these people are using. They're literally calling it a war. And apparently all these other social media companies are losing a war against, well, the truth, which could bode well for us. As the pace of the nation's immunization slows and public health agencies struggle to get shots in arms, Advanced Democracy found that debunked claims showing unfounded fears about the V's are circulating, largely unfettered on Twitter and TikTok, including posts and videos that falsely allege the federal government is covering up deaths caused by the cures, or that it is safer to get C19 than to get the V. I'm not going to go ahead and say what we're all thinking right now. And great minds think alike, so I know you guys are thinking exactly what I'm thinking. This is what they do. They come out and they tell you the truth, but they say that it's a lie. We'll just leave it at that. Twitter began labeling tweets that include misleading or false information about C19Vs in March. It also started using a strike system to eventually remove accounts that repeatedly violate its rules. Hey, same thing's going to happen to me on here. There will come a time where I will not exist on YouTube, and I hope you guys will follow me to my other channels. Which reminds me, if you're not subscribed to my main channel, Austin from Ohio, please subscribe. If you're not subscribed here, please subscribe. Austin from Ohio 3 and 4, please subscribe. I don't have any more on here yet, but I will go all the way up to 1,000 if I have to, or more. Yet, none of the top tweets on Twitter are using popular anti-vaccine hashtags like hashtag V's kill, hashtag no V, hashtag depopulation, there you go, and hashtag plandemic have labels as of May 3rd. According to Advanced Democracy, a research organization that studies disinformation and extremism. Oh, there you go. Look at that. They throw it in there. They throw in the extremism word because why? Now we can all be lumped in together because, well, look at this. Is Trump back on Facebook? That's all just crap. That's the first thing you see because you're going to, when people read this, they're going to see, oh, yeah, none of the top tweets on Twitter, whatever. And they're going to see research organization that studies disinformation and extremism. And then they're going to see Trump's name right there. And then that's going to help further lump everybody in that group. Even people like us that are not Trump supporters, that don't engage in mis or disinformation because everything we say is backed up by what they're saying or other facts. And that was the whole point, to lump us in with that. What's more, when USA Today searched these hashtags on Twitter, unlabeled posts were served up along with advertisements for major consumer brands including Cheetos, Volvo, CVS, even Star Wars. Man, why they gotta do that to Star Wars? Come on. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, I will tell you right now. I actually just got done watching all of the movies. Not the new stupid Disney ones. I've watched episode 1 when Anakin was a little boy, all the way to Return of the Jedi. And to me, that is Star Wars. The new ones, take a hike. I love Star Wars. Anyway, making certain that reliable, authoritative health information is easily accessible on Twitter has been a priority long before we were in the midst of a global pandemic, Twitter told USA Today. Since the beginning of C-19, we've expanded and increased our investment in those efforts. Kind of like at Event 201 when they sat down and they said that they were going to promote more authoritative information. Just that word in general. Hello? Is anybody home? Are you awake? Anybody out there? And look at that. They show you this picture here. They got the blue line flag, the woman with the red hat. Even though it's probably not a Trump hat. No, it looks like a blue line hat. But still, a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to really just try to discredit anybody that goes against, well, what they're saying. You know what's funny? The people that are like pro abortion and all that stuff, they say my body, my choice. But when it comes to you and what you don't want to put into your body on this subject, oh no, you can't have it like that. Oh no. Twitter says it does not take action on every piece of misinformation. In order to be removed, a tweet must make a claim of fact, be demonstrably false or misleading based on authoritative sources, and be likely to imperil public safety or cause serious harm. Quote, we prioritize the removal of content when it has clear call to action that could potentially cause real-world harm, labeled tweets that may contain misleading information, and take escalated enforcement action on repeat violators of this policy, the company said in a statement. After coming under fire for its slow response to C-19 misinformation, Facebook has made significant progress in labeling C-19 posts, according to Daniel Jones, president of Advanced Democracy. In recent months, Facebook has moved more aggressively to combat misinformation. The social media company said in March that it would add labels to posts about V's. As of May 3rd, all of the top 10 posts discussing C-19V that used the hashtag #VaccinesKill hashtag were labeled compared to only 2 of the top 10 on March 28th, Advanced Democracy found. 6 of the top 10 C-19V posts using the hashtag depopulation were labeled the same rate as on March 28th when Facebook labeled 6 of the top 10 posts. Let me stop right here for a minute. They're going through an awful lot of trouble to try to suppress information about potential depopulation. Now, if somebody gets on your social media or in general and they start calling you a bank robber or something, they say that you're planning on robbing a bank or something like that, and you're obviously not, is that going to bother you? Are you going to go out and try to stop that person from saying that? And are you going to go out there and try to suppress all the information and put out all this stuff saying you're not going to rob a bank? I wouldn't. I would just be like, man, this guy's an idiot. That's not even true. I'm just sitting here in my house. No, you only come out and do this when you are guilty of something. Facebook told USA Today that it has removed more than 16 million pieces of content on Facebook and Instagram for violating its C-19 and V policies since the beginning of the situation. Quote, promises to address public health misinformation online are only consequential if there is action and follow-through. While Facebook has improved significantly, Twitter is still failing to provide a warning or informational label on certain posts, including posts promoting the hashtag VsKill, Jones told USA Today. Look at this. False claims about V's have circulated on social media platforms for years, giving rise to a powerful anti-V movement with deep roots and a long reach. A growing backlash against the V has spread beyond fringe anti-V communities into swaths of mainstream America whose faith in science and government has been badly shaken by the situation. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the reason people's faith in science and government has been shaken because government is literally, they've gone rogue. They have gone so rogue that they're not even following any of their own laws anymore. They're kind of just saying, well, we're going to go ahead and just do it this way, even though the law says otherwise. Oh, we're going to do all this. We're going to lock you in your house. We're going to make you stay away from your neighbors, make you wear a mask, make you take this thing. And, well, if you say anything about it, we're going to take you out. There's a reason why people have great mistrust for government now than ever before. Even people who were never awake, would never even think about waking up, have somewhat woken up in this last year because it is so in your face. If it was any more in your face, it would literally be just punching you. If it was any more in your face, you would be able to taste it. Man. Oh God, oh Lord, check this out. Researchers say C-19V theories peddled by anti-V groups and hucksters looking to make a quick buck off people's fears with bogus health remedies has become a second situation. What? First of all, here's one. I'm not trying to make any money off anybody. I am not doing this to make money. I don't need to make any money. I don't want to make any money. I'm doing this because I care about my fellow man. I care that there's literally people out there that would see you dead and see this country and this world destroyed. Quote, this situation is not over, and with the rate of cures on the decline, directing users to reliable information on the cures is more important than ever. Oh, I'm sure it is. Oh, man. On TikTok, anti-V lies and conspiracies are still surging despite a company crackdown, Advanced Democracy found. Okay, first of all, the word conspiracy means when two or more people are engaged in an act that they know to be illegal. The correct term for them to use would be conspiracy theory. But anyway, Best known for its short-form viral videos, TikTok is popular with kids and teens, and it has at least 100 million users in the US. TikTok says it prohibits content that's false or misleading, including misinformation related to C19 and V's. It's also banned the hashtags V's Kill and Plan D. And it just says that TikTok failed to do this, blah, blah, blah. Hashtag depopulation did not have a label, and the videos using the hashtag had a total of 11.7 million views on TikTok. Now, they literally have it carved in stone at the Georgia Guidestones that they want the world down to 500 million people. And people say there's no depopulation plan. Yes, there is. It's literally set in stone. Not a figure of speech. Literally set in stone. And you YouTube moderators or whoever that like to take my videos down, why don't you stop right here while you're listening, looking for a reason to take me down, and why don't you just type in Georgia Guidestones on your little computer that you got there? Or better yet, go see for yourself. It's the first one. Fact check that. And they just say they work diligently to identify and remove misinformation about C19 and V's, TikTok said in a statement. And just basically the same thing that all of these social media giants are doing. And I wish I would have brought it up, but a lot of people don't know. Because I hear a lot of people saying that, oh, these are private companies, they can do whatever they want to do. No, they're not private companies. The CIA took control of all of these social media companies like 10 years ago or so, maybe more. Took control of them for national security reasons. That's the answer that they gave us as to why did you take all of these and put them under your umbrella. Oh my. But anyway, we can just go ahead and move on. So apparently there's a war, which is the information war, which we already know, and Hillary Clinton said things on that. If you guys seen Carol's video, they've been really trying to come at us for a while on this information war. But apparently Facebook's winning and other companies or other platforms are not. So there's that. Let's move on. Okay, we cannot forget about this one. I brought this one up as soon as this report came out, but I'm bringing it up again because it is so important. U.S. West prepares for possible first water storage shortage declaration. Because they're going after the water. They're going after the food. They're going after the fuel. They're going after pretty much everything, actually. Everything that we use, everything in Agenda 21 they're supposed to be going after, they are. And it basically says the man-made lakes that store water supplying millions of people in the U.S., West, and Mexico are projected to shrink to historic lows in the coming months, dropping to levels that could trigger the federal government's first ever official shortage declaration and prompt cuts in Arizona and Nevada. The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation released 24-month projections this week, forecasting that less Colorado River water will cascade down from the Rocky Mountains through Lake Powell and Lake Mead into the arid deserts of the U.S. Southwest and the Gulf of California. Water levels in the two lakes are expected to plummet low enough for the agency to declare an official shortage for the first time, threatening the supply of Colorado River water that growing cities and farms rely on. Not going to read the whole thing, just wanted to bring that up to show you that this is still a thing. They're still going to go after the water, the food, all of it. All of it is involved in Agenda 21. But let's move on because I have more pressing matters to get to. Okay, here's one from 6 days ago, and this is phys.org. Stands for physics.org, I believe, or physiology, or I'm not sure, actually. But situation, war, climate change, fuel food fears. Huh. Okay. Right? The economic cost of the global situation, as well as conflict and climate change, are fueling food security fears that in 2020 reached their highest level in 5 years, according to a report published Wednesday. Last year, 155 million people in 55 countries faced acute food shortages, 20 million more than in 2019, according to a report by the EU, the Food and Agricultural Organization, the World Food Program, which see the problem as getting steadily worse. Quote, "We must act together to prevent an additional deterioration of the situation," FAO Director General Q Dong-yu told a video conference describing the new global report on food crises as a call to urgent humanitarian action. He added in a tweet, "We must address the root causes and make agri-food systems more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable." Isn't that, where have we heard that language before? Great Reset? That's not the first place we heard it, no. Oh, that's right, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Yeah, they're doing this right in front of you, right in front of us, and laughing about it, and telling us that if you go against it, we're just going to take you down. It's like your bully telling you that they're going to kick your ass at 3 o'clock. And 3 o'clock comes and you walk outside and you get your ass kicked. I told you I was going to kick your ass. But guess what? You didn't listen and you didn't go out the other door. You didn't change your daily habit. So you got your ass kicked by a bully. Same thing's going on here. We're not changing anything. We're not doing anything at all to change the trajectory of the way that we're going. We're doing nothing. You know what I'm watching people do right now? I live next to a baseball field. I'm watching people play baseball. And I'm watching parents watch their children play baseball. Not one person is looking up in the sky at the trails. Not one person over there is talking about the state of affairs in our world. Nope. They're distracted by the bread and the circus. What do you know? Anyway. Last year saw the Global Network Against Food Crises, which groups together the 3 international organizations, identified 28 million people in 28 countries as suffering emergency levels of acute hunger, with DR, Congo, Yemen, and Afghanistan worst affected. I think DR is Dominican Republic, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. Here you go. A further 133,000 people were judged to be living in the most severe, catastrophic phase of food insecurity in Burkina Faso, South Sudan, and Yemen. Africa remains the continent worst hit by food shortages, with 98 million people affected, or 63% of global cases, up from 54% in 2019. Quote, "For 100 million people confronted by acute food crisis in 2020, the main cause was linked to conflicts and insecurity. Compared with 77 million in 2019, Dominique Bergin, FAO Emergencies Director, told AFP. Economic crisis was the prime reason for hunger for 40 million, compared with 24 million in 2019. Let's see. Who's responsible for economic crisis? The powers that be, correct? Who's responsible for hunger? The powers that be, correct? There's enough food in this world for every single person to have enough to eat for their entire lives. But you know what happens to it? They throw it away. Oh, this ain't being used. I'm throwing it away. Like, actual big companies are doing that, and even a lot of medium-sized companies are doing that. There's a channel on YouTube where these people go, and actually the one dude got arrested they go and they like go to the dumpsters outside of like Walmart or Aldi's or whatever, and they see all the food that they're throwing out on like certain days. They know like when they're going to be throwing it out. And at first they were asking like, hey, can we take this? And they say, no, it's got to get thrown away. It's policy, this and that. Then they just started taking it, and then they would distribute it to homeless communities, homeless shelters, the guy on the street, you name it. Well, they ended up getting arrested for theft. And I think the one guy won in court because he said that it wasn't theft because they threw it away in a public trash can or a public domain. Therefore, it wasn't their property anymore. And I think he ended up winning. But regardless, still got arrested. Okay. Burgeon said that the situation has exacerbated vulnerabilities, singling out Sudan, Zimbabwe, and Haiti. The latter also hit by climate issues affecting the food security of some 15 million people. With restrictions still in place across much of the world, Burgeon said the coming year would be very difficult, exacerbating food security in already fragile economies. He estimated that 142 million, the number of people who would be affected in 40 of the worst hit countries. And with the global population on its way to hitting 8.5 billion by 2030, the report concluded that C19 had underlined the need to make food distribution more equitable as the number of mouths to feed grows. Yeah, you think that, or maybe just cut the mouths to feed by a certain amount. You know, to get toward a net zero carbon future, right? We already know what they want to do. Sounds like, let me think here. What could solve all of these problems right here? Let's say that I'm a normie, a sheep, and I'm reading this just as the sheep. World hunger, climate, fragile economies, fragile ecosystems, world population heading up to 8.5 billion. All these countries are affected. Oh, it seems like if we had one government for the whole world, then they could, maybe manage this. And they could save us, right? And don't forget, when Monsanto first got started, they said that they were going to end hunger within 10 years. Because of GMO crops, they can create a lot more in a shorter amount of time. Guess what? Never happened. More people got hungry. Because it was about controlling the world's food supply. Now they control the world's food supply. Now they get to decide when to cut the food, which they are doing now. So, and that is the end of that one. But you can see where they're talking about all this, and the United States was not mentioned, but you best believe, don't ever doubt that the United States is not included in this, because we definitely are. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to run this one. Now, this will probably get this video taken down, but I could try to skirt maybe by saying that everything that I've said in this video thus far and everything that I will say from here on out is opinionated, not to be taken as medical advice, and is for educational and information purposes only. And entertainment, how about that? Okay. BGV producer CureVac created the CVnCoV, which will be the V for Depop. And this person says, in a previous post, I pushed a theory on why the C was the depopulation effort on Africa, that BG and Elon Musk were both aligned to that goal, assisted by governments to steal resources for the electronic age as oil age dies, stop Africa's projected population boom to prevent overpopulation, and to stop rising African superpowers. BG predicting the P, his father being board member of Planned Parenthood, his philanthropy in Africa, and his cure push and investment being key points. Elon Musk's investment in electric vehicles, financial gain during the situation, South African during apartheid, father owning emerald mines, being key points for him. Now, however, we see that both Musk and Gates are heavily invested in V creator CureVac and their CVnCoV CV, which I guess from now on I'm just going to call it a cure, because technically that's what they would want you to say. If the aim of the situation was depopulation and it were to happen by the V and not the virus mutation, then this would be the cure. Furthermore, CureVac is led by Ingmar Malte-Hoer, the father of technology used in RNA cures. With him, Musk, and Gates involved on this V, it makes most likely tool for the population of Africa, which, don't get it twisted, they will start, and they've been for a long time, with Africa. That's why, Billy Goats and Melinda were saying that. Remember a couple months ago they were saying, black people need to line up first to take this because they're more susceptible to getting the virus and all this stuff, which it's a lie. It's a lie. They do that because these people are the real racists. You hear a lot about it, right? The guy out the street you hear on TV, but no. The powers that be are the real. They're racist, they're classist, they're humanist, they're Luciferian, they're all of it. All of it. CureVac's cure has the ability to be stored in regular refrigerator. That's true. This makes the cure preferable to the other cures in poorer and hotter countries like within Africa. I predict this cure will be pushed in Africa and be the leading cure in the coming months within poor nations. It's possible that Africans would be killed or made infertile by the cure after a time due to an unknown factor. If the cure were to kill, it would be after a long duration in order to have the maximum amount of inoculations. Crap. If the cure were to make them infertile, it would allow more time, which makes infertility a preferable method. Remember when Billy Goat said the more they invest in health, the smaller the family size gets? And he said, I can't even believe he said this. He said that as people get healthier, they choose to have less children. That makes no sense. There's absolutely no correlation there. None. There's no correlation there. How would that even make sense? If you're healthier and happier, wouldn't you maybe want to have children because you're healthy and happy? Therefore, you would want to bring children. I knew if I was happier and the world was a better place, I would probably want children. Because the only reason I don't is because I don't want them being born into this new world order. Bad enough I gotta be here, right? Anyway, there must be a massive push to cure the population in Africa in order for this to occur. Rise in infections, not unlike India, will spread throughout their land. Also note, BG funded CureVac long before the situation. And it goes on, of course, this is where they bring in the left-right thing, which, when we read this, again, take what you need and leave the rest. Trump tried to pay CureVac to move their operation to the USA. In addition, Microsoft has been caught funding election-denying politicians of the Republican Party, and Gates did not support waiving cure patents, citing competition was best for development. And it basically just goes on to say things like that. End of the oil age, beginning of the electronic age. But yes, I brought this up for just exactly what it says. I'm not going to elaborate because I don't want to get taken down. Oh crap, you're not supposed to see this part. Moving on. Alright, now here is something that I really wanted to bring up for people to understand a little bit more about what's going on. I know a lot of people here, you already understand most of this, which I hope you do anyway, if you're in this line of work, we'll call it. But those that might just be getting started, don't understand the history of this, let me pick your brain a little bit. The United Nations and the origins of the Great Reset. About 2,400 years ago, the Greek philosopher Plato came up with the idea constructing the state and society according to an elaborate plan. Plato wanted wise men, philosophers, at the helm of the government, but he made it also clear that his kind of state would need a transformation of the humans. In modern times, the promoters of the omnipotent state want to substitute Plato's philosopher with the expert and create the new man through eugenics, which is now called transhumanism. The United Nations and its various sub-organizations play a pivotal role in this project, which has reached its present stage in the project of the Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset. The struggle for a world government. The Great Reset did not come from nowhere. The first modern attempts to create a global institution with a governmental function was launched by the government of Woodrow Wilson, who acted as U.S. President from 1913 to 1921. Pay attention to the wording here. Who acted as U.S. President from 1913 to 1921. That's the correct terminology to use, because the presidents are actors and they act as the president. Just a little footnote right there. Under the inspiration of Colonel Mandel House, the president's prime advisor and best friend, Wilson wanted to establish a world forum for the period after World War I. Yet the plan of American participation in the League of Nations failed, and the drive toward internationalism and establishing a new world order receded during the Roaring Twenties. A new move toward managing a society like an organization, however, came during the Great Depression. Franklin Delano Roosevelt did not let the crisis go by without driving the agenda forward with his New Deal. FDR was especially interested in the special executive privileges that came with the Second World War. Resistance was almost nil when he moved forward to lay the groundwork for a new League of Nations, which was now to be named the United Nations. Under the leadership of Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt, 26 nations agreed in January 1942 to the initiative of establishing a United Nations organization, which came into existence on October 24, 1945. Since its inception, the United Nations and its branches, such as the World Bank Group and the World Health Organization, who have prepared the countries of the world to comply with the goals that were announced at its foundation. Yet the unctuous pronouncement of promoting international peace and security, developing friendly relations among nations, and working for social progress, better living standards, and human rights hides the agenda of establishing a world government with executive powers whose task would not be promoting liberty and free markets, but greater interventionism and control through cultural and scientific organizations. This became clear with the creation of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in 1945. Yeah, I would say that they don't promote liberty and free markets. I would say that, they don't promote friendly relations among nations. They mean friendly relations among governments in order to form one government for the whole world. They really they're doing this. That's all I gotta say. Eugenics. After the foundation of UNESCO in 1945, the English evolutionary biologist, eugenicist, and declared globalist Julian Huxley, the brother of Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World, became its first director. At the launch of the organization, Huxley called for a scientific world humanism, global in extent, and he asked to manipulate human evolution to a desirable end, referring to dialectical materialism as the first radical attempt at an evolutionary philosophy. The director of UNESCO laments that the Marxist approach to changing society was bound to fail because of its lack of indispensable biological component. This is exactly what's going on today. We are ruled by a scientific dictatorship, humanist in nature. Yes. This is the world government that they wanted, and this is the world government that they're going to get. With these ideas, Julian Huxley was in respectable company. Since the late 19th century, the call for a genetic betterment of the human race through eugenics has been gaining many prominent followers. John Maynard Keynes, for example, held the promotion of eugenics and population control as one of the most important social questions and crucial area of research. Keynes was not alone. The list of advocates breeding the human race for its own betterment is quite large and impressive. These illiberal reformers include, among many other well-known names, the writers H.G. Wells and G.B. Shaw. First of all, H.G. Wells was a third-degree Freemason, and he literally wrote a book called The New World Order. Anyway, G.B. Shaw, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt, and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, as well as economist Irving Fisher and the family planning pioneers Margaret Sanger and Bill Gates Sr. Father of Bill, of course, yeah, we know that. But you can see all the big names in here. And their posterity are still running things today. Isn't that interesting? In his discourse at the foundation of UNESCO, Julian Huxley was quite specific about the goals and methods of this institution to achieve the desired evolutionary progress of mankind. The first step must be to stress the ultimate need for world political unity and familiarize all peoples with the implications of the transfer of full sovereignty from separate nations to a world organization. Furthermore, the institution must consider the trade-off between the importance of quality against quantity, which means it must take into account that there is optimum range of size for every human organization as for every type of organism. The educational, scientific, and cultural organization of the UN should give special attention to unity and variety of the world's art and culture, as well as the promotion of one single pool of scientific knowledge. That's where we're at today. Experts said, right? Huxley makes it clear that human diversity is not for all. Variety for weaklings, fools, and moral deficients cannot but be bad. And because a considerable percentage of the population is not capable of profiting from higher education, and also a considerable percentage of young men suffer from physical weakness or mental instability, these grounds are often genetic in origin. These groups must be excluded from the efforts of advancing human progress. As in, ain't no room for ya. You gots to go. Goodbye. That's the way they're looking at us right now. Like I said before, the way that people might view ants or any other types of bugs like that, that is the way that they view us. Nothing more than insects. Actually, they say we are less than that. So, in his discourse, Huxley diagnosed that at the time of this writing, the indirect effect of civilization is rather dysgenic instead of eugenic. And that in any case, it seems likely that the dead weight of genetic stupidity, physical weakness, and mental instability and disease proneness, which already exist in the human species, will prove too great a burden for real progress to be achieved. After all, it's essential that eugenics should be brought entirely within the borders of science, for, as already indicated, in the not very remote future, the problem of improving average quality of human beings is likely to become urgent, and this can only be accomplished by applying the findings of a truly scientific eugenics. And it keeps referencing the writings of in that book or in that document. Here we go. Use of the climate threat. Here we go, guys. This is what's going to really get my thing taken down. Hope not, because this is important information, but it will. The next decisive step toward the global economic transformation was taken with the first report of the Club of Rome. In 1968, the Club of Rome was initiated at the Rockefeller Estate, Bellagio, in Italy. Its first report was published in 1972 under the title The Limits to Growth. President Emeritus of the Club of Rome, Alexander King, and the Secretary of Club, General Bertrand Schneider, informed the report of the Council of the Club of Rome that when the members of the club were in search of identifying a new enemy, they listed pollution, global warming, water shortages, and famines, the most opportune items to be blamed on humanity, with the implication that humanity itself must be reduced to keep these threats in check. Do you think they're getting it done, guys? Do you really think that they're actually getting this done? Because I do. I see it. Since the 1990s, several comprehensive initiatives toward a global system of control have been undertaken by the United Nations with Agenda 2021 and Agenda 2030. The 2030 Agenda was adopted by the United Nations member states in 2015. It launched its blueprint for global change with the call to achieve 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The key concept is sustainable development that includes population control as a crucial instrument. Saving the Earth has become the slogan of green policy warriors. Since the 1970s, the horror scenario of global warming has been a useful tool in their hands to gain political influence and finally rule over public discourse. In the meanwhile, these anti-capitalist groups have obtained a dominant influence in the media, educational and judicial systems, and have become major players in the political arena. In many countries, particularly in Europe, so-called green parties have become a pivotal factor in the political system. Many of the representatives are quite open to their demands to make society and the economy compatible with the high ecological standards that require a profound reset of the present system. Sounds like today, right? In 1945, Huxley noted that it's too early to propose an outright eugenic depopulation program, but advised that it will be important for the organization to see that the eugenic problem is examined with the greatest care, and that the public mind is informed of the issues at stake, so that much that now is unthinkable may at least become thinkable. So what they're saying is, starting back then, they started introducing this stuff to us, so we get to a point now to where regular people are running around saying we need to get rid of certain undesirable groups of people. Newsflash. To them, we are all undesirable. Every last one of us. Undesirable in their eyes. Pissants. Huxley's caution is no longer necessary. In the meantime, the branches of the United Nations have gained such a level of power that even originally minor UN sub-organizations, such as the World Health Organization, have been enabled to command individual governments around the world to obey their orders. The WHO and the International Monetary Fund, whose conditionality for loans has changed from physical restraint to the degree to which a country follows rules set by the WHO, have become the supreme tandem to work toward establishing the New World Order. As Julian Huxley pointed out in his discourse in 1945, it's the task of the United Nations to do away with economic freedom because laissez-faire and capitalist economic systems have created a great deal of ugliness. Time has come to work toward the emergence of a single world culture. This must be done with the explicit help of the mass media and the educational systems. Conclusion. With the foundation of the United Nations and its sub-organizations, the drive to advance the programs of eugenics and transhumanism took a big step forward. Together with the activities of the Club of Rome, they have staged to initiate the Great Reset that is going on currently. And yes, I get people that ask me all the time, when do they plan on doing this Great Reset? When are they going to do this and that? They're doing it now. It started with the situation, and they're doing it now. Well, this is what it says here, actually. With the pronouncement of the situation, the goal of comprehensive government control of the economy and society has taken another leap toward transforming the economy and society. Freedom faces a new enemy. The tyranny comes under the disguise of expert rule and benevolent dictatorship. The new rulers do not justify their right to dominance because of divine providence, but now claim the right to rule the people in the name of universal health and safety, based on presumed scientific evidence. And this guy, Dr. Anthony P. Mueller, is a German professor of economics who currently teaches in Brazil. So, what do you think about that, guys? That is the truth. 150% the truth. it's going on. And all we could do is just pray to the Heavenly Father, which we will do in a second. Talk to our neighbors, get everybody on the same page. Prepare, 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 prepare. Mentally, spiritually, physically, prepare. Talk to the Lord. When you pray, go in your closet, as it says in the Bible. Shut the door and get on your knees and pray to the Heavenly Father and ask Him for clarity, for wisdom and guidance. Ask Him for forgiveness, first of all, to be forgiven and absolved of your sin, because we are all born in sin. Ask Him to show you the way and to light the path. Also ask Him for discernment. And He will talk to you. And it also says in the Bible that don't go out on the street corners or out in public like the posers do at the synagogues and whatnot. No, you go into your closet and you get on your knees and you pray in secret. And it says that those who pray in secret, the Father will hear you and will respond to you. And with that, we will go ahead and end this one here. And we will go ahead and pray now. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not unto temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.